Brexit brought a boom to Cherbourg in France. Many freight forwarders use the port on the English Channel as a direct connection to Ireland to avoid the new customs modalities. The 194-meter-long W.B. Yeats ferry works its way slowly through the port entrance of Cherbourg one day. It is the last few meters on their way from Ireland to France. In the belly of the ship, the trucks are getting ready to leave. They want to go to mainland Europe as soon as possible. The direct ferry connection between Ireland and France is booming. Our two ferries have been running once a day from Ireland to Cherbourg and back since January. We have twice as many ferry trips as before, says Ole Bockmann, director of Irish Ferry France. Before Brexit, 150,000 trucks a year drove the route across England. Two ferries, one truck trip across the island, but only 11 hours in total. Since Great Britain left the EU and is no longer part of the European single market, many have turned around, even if the direct sea route is actually much longer at 17 to 18 hours in terms of travel time. And Corona plays a role too. Many freight forwarders prefer the direct route between Ireland and France so that the tests for the drivers are no longer necessary. The risk for the drivers is lower if they do not drive via England, where the British variant is rampant, says Bockmann. Many freight forwarders complain that customs clearance on the UK side is laborious, expensive and anything but digital. I was recently on my way to England. Before Brexit, I waited 15 minutes for my papers. Now it's 2.5 hours, reports truck driver Kas Djerdjic to the AFP news agency. He drives his refrigerated truck regularly from Ireland to mainland Europe. Things get complicated with food. You need different certificates for each product. If the cargo belongs to different customers, that means even more paperwork. It's easy via Cherbourg, says Djerdjic. Many Eastern European license plates can now be seen in Cherbourg, which was rare before. Most of them regularly travel back and forth between the continent and Ireland, which means that they have to deal with the formalities both on the way there and on the way back, explains Yannick Millet, General Manager of the Port of Cherbourg. This is good news for the port. There was little going on here in December and many of the port workers were on short-time work. Now several large ferries are regularly docked here again. Our port already handled many more ships to and from Ireland in January than it did before Brexit, says Millet. 9,000 trucks were shipped between Cherbourg and Ireland this month. The number of trucks tripled in January compared to January 2020, and at that time there were no corona controls. The three major ferry lines, Stena Line, Irish Ferries and British Ferries, already used more and larger ships between Dublin, Rosslare and Portsmouth and Cherbourg at the beginning of the year, says Millet. New dock workers are now being trained and hired, so it's even more jobs. In Cherbourg, you don't want to rejoice too early though. Other French ports such as Roscoff, Dunkerque and Saint-Malo are also expanding their activities in the direction of Ireland. And as soon as the customs formalities run better and do not take as long to complete as now, many freight forwarders will probably return to England. That is just the shorter way, says Ole Bockmann from Irish Ferry France. He assumes that customs clearance between England and Europe will have normalized by the middle of the year. I suspect that only 20 to 30% of the 150,000 trucks that took the route from Ireland via England to France before Brexit will maintain the direct route between Ireland and France in the long term. This is particularly true for live animal transports, he says. Because of the Brexit, processing them via England to Europe has become more difficult. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and to my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.